MBA909, week 3. What did we study in the last week, students? Yeah, big data, the topic of big data. And we try to understand why we are studying big data, because you have to do in the course of data analytics, you will be applying those concepts and you will be looking at big data files by directly downloading them from Kaggle. Okay, so from one of the websites that's called Kaggle. So I hope everyone has got Kaggle accounts sorted. That's one of the things that I have to ensure in today's class as well. This is your, yes, any questions, online students? Okay, so if I take you to the list where we have, I will be opening up the list that I created last time. Yeah, 6th of July. So you can see your names here in the list. So you can see your names in the list, students. Make sure that those who were absent or did not attend the class might have missed sharing the or creating the Kaggle account, because I haven't seen your Kaggle account. So that's really important that you have got access to Kaggle and you have got your data set downloaded so that you can start working on your assessment task, assessment number 1, where you have to describe the concept that you are trying to understand or create research questions out of that. Okay, so data set in Kaggle can be from any of the domains of your own interest. So if I go to Kaggle website, you can see here you log in with your KOI email. And then you can find any of the data sets from either from health or from, it can be from education as well. Okay. Or any industry of your own choice, where you can look at their consumer behavior, or you can look at the acceptance of certain technologies, for example. But you need to extract upon the research questions from that data set. Okay. And there are certain requirements. For example, so you click on any of the thing here and then try to find out from the input tab, look at the data set. Okay, how many columns are there? So this one won't be acceptable because the number of rows is too less, plus number of columns should be at least 15 and number of rows should be 1000 plus. And then you can think of what are the research questions that you can ask from the data set. So for example, from international education, there are again 6 columns. From country summary, yeah, there are 31 columns. And 241 rows is a small number of records. So we require at least 1000 records in your data set. Okay. So most likely, I think health domain would better fit in health, education, transport industry, or any of the products or the market analysis, where you can look at consumer behavior with 1000 plus records and 15 plus columns. Even you have 15 columns, make sure you get that data approved by the instructor. Those who selected data set, I'm going to put their data set link here today so that I can make sure that no 2 students are getting the same data set. Okay, so this is one of the requirement for assignment number 1, that you have to ensure that you're not working on the same data set as your fellows are, because you will be working or completing the assessment task, not only assessment number 1, rather 2 and 3, they also entail the same data set. Okay, so you are going to work around the same data set. Okay, I will get into this discussion, but first let's complete the topic for today. So last week we studied big data and I guided you to look at the data sets from Kaggle. by downloading different data sets and then creating the account with Kaggle. So if you are still having issues in creating the Kaggle account, feel free to let me know if you have any concerns or questions. Yes, Lovepreet, do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. I already make the account on Kaggle, but I can't able to see my name on the list.
You have created Kaggle account?
Yeah, and in the last class, but I can't able to see my name.
So here it is. Here it is. You can see the shared screen now. The
Oh,
second
yeah.
last one.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you so
Ma'am, I
Yeah,
much.
have
but
already
I haven't got your data set link though.
ma'am,
I will do it now.
So that's something we are going to do today. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Muhammad Usama, I have already created my account.
Okay. You had issues in
Yeah,
assigning the name. So it is sorted. Okay.
yeah.
That's good. I'm going to update this list once we do the tutorial session. Okay. So make sure you get this up because I require this column primarily, your data set link, to ensure that no two students they get the same data set. Okay. Um, So this is from Kaggle. We will get back to this one. Now let's continue with week 3 class. So we are going to look at enterprise-wide data analytics. So I'm going to share this side of the screen. That would be better. Okay. And we can put this. That's fine. Yeah. Is it readable or that screen is also visible to you? So that might be. You have access to Google as well. Okay. So enterprise-wide data analytics, since we are talking about big data and data sets that involve large organizations or technically enterprises, where we are dealing with processing information for large number of users. Okay. So that's why we are automatically getting those large amounts of data sets that would encompass different levels of functions for particular organization, and they will have to deal with those functions at different times, right? So we require certain aspects in terms of um, the business or the corporate analytics because we are collecting. So one step is automatically being done for the purpose of conducting the business or for the purpose of execution of those transactions that are done on routine basis. We are collecting that information to ensure that okay, this transaction is done, so we have data. Now once we are collecting and processing that, then the next step it automatically comes along that we can analyze and then we can interpret and find the findings for better decision making in the better informed decisions in future. Okay, so we try to learn from those experiences. So we are storing the information in our system for the purpose of processing that information, and then we end up doing the um, analysis of that data set to make better future decisions. By analyzing the historical and real time data, you can uncover trends, patterns, and correlations to help you make more accurate choices. So, we get some contextual information, we get the information that is relevant to certain scenario, and then we try to answer our questions for our better future decisions, and also trying to identify what would be the associated risks that could be potentially involved. Now, if you look at the characteristics of that enterprise-wide data, it can be integrated from diverse data sources. Okay, as we talked about different chains of stores, the location of those chains of stores might be at different sites, and then you can collect the information coming along from those chains of stores and then process them automatically. Okay, um, getting that data ecosystem well managed and maintained. Then we have centralized data management. Now, this could be variable across different organizations because either you are doing it at one single location, data being kept at one single location, or data is distributed across different locations, or multiple copies of data are kept at different locations. That can vary depending on your requirements. Okay, so in case of centralized, for example, your KOI Sydney has got all the data sets located here, and KOI from Newcastle or the international KOI, they will have to transmit the information onto the data server here located in Sydney. Okay, so that's the centralized approach, that we have got one copy of the data onto one central location. And for the purpose of consistency and for the purpose of accuracy, every time a change occurs, so by the end of the semester, how many students passed, how many failed, so all the results, they are coming along, and we keep that information onto the server. And this will help security across the organization as well, because we are concerned about security of only one node in terms of data security. Okay, and it will allow better update operation would be easier because you have only one location to update. But there are certain aspects that we still need to cover, because since we are keeping the data as at one single location, you are getting one single copy, but you are having a single point of failure as well. So what if a catastrophic condition occurs or something odd happens at that particular location? So where is your safe copy of the data? So for that, you require better scalable solutions where you can put it onto the cloud storage or onto different locations. The multiple copies of the data, they are kept at multiple different locations. So data is coming along, and once you get that big copy, the big data, you can conduct the predictive analytics as well. So it's not only descriptive or prescriptive only, but we have predictive. It means that it will allow you to make informed decisions in the future, and those insights, they will help enhance the better decision making. The characteristics, added characteristics, they include user-friendly business intelligence tools and dashboards. As I said, the transactions, they are stored for 14 days. What 14 days return policy means that point of sale terminal will keep the data for certain period of time. On the same line, at hospital points, they have certain durations through which they need to keep the data. It does not have to be 14 days or specific days. It depends on how many days patient is going to stay in the hospital. Conducting those procedures, they are being done, and that information has to be updated onto the system. So once those informations are getting updated, they are also being used to train and to inform the decisions for the future ones. So the BI tools, they are getting updated automatically to get better visualizations. Then we have cross-functional collaboration. For cross-functional, you are getting it from different departments, for example, marketing, finance, and operations, but we are not talking about different time zone. Rather, it's the functions are being performed at different departments or different parts of the organization, but not in different time frame. Okay. Data-driven culture, it requires the decisions will be made based on the previous experiences, past experiences. So they are going to rely on the data sources that they have, and they will tell that since data is telling us consumers are more satisfied if we are going to add feature X, Y, Z. So they need to incorporate those features because data is telling us that we need to add feature X, Y, and Z. Yeah, directly or indirectly, it is supporting enhanced decision making. And we have performance monitoring and optimization as well, because you are getting the data, so you can automatically analyze how is the organizational aspects, different organizational aspects. You can measure their key performance indicators, whether the KPIs are being followed and the business metrics, they are being achieved as planned. Compliance and risk management can also be done since you are getting that large data set solutions. Now, here you have business intelligence. You can see it lies onto the center. Okay, so that's the central point of attention for the purpose of data analytics. And the arrows, all other arrows that are pointing towards BI, is either they are helping to collect the data for business intelligence tools, or they are helping to perform decisions for BI tools, or they are taking the benefit of the BI tools to indicate their future decisions. So you can see here data marts, querying and reporting. The extraction, ETL stands for extraction, transformation, and loading. Okay, so we extract, we can convert it into a format that it can be loaded into the BI tool. Okay, because certain details that are not required, they will be completely eliminated. Even if you look at, for example, a telecommunications um, satisfaction survey that is placed onto Kaggle for the purpose of BI, business intelligence decision making, you will notice that the personal details of the consumers, they might be completely, it will be the social demographics will be visible. For example, how many male, female, what were the age groups who responded, was their location. If we are interested in suburbs, we might keep their location. But what was the name of the individual or their personal address or their phone numbers, that will be completely discarded from the data set, because that is something that we do not require for the purpose of our analysis in terms of identifying or in terms of answering the question that how many consumers are satisfied with the service. Okay, so depending on your research question, so those aspects that are unnecessary, you can get rid of them. So that would be your data cleaning phase later on in your assessment number 2 that you will be doing. The descriptive analytics, before that you will be cleaning the data set. So ETL steps will be performed over there. Then you have data warehouse, data marts. Since we are talking about really large data set, big data, 1,000 plus observations. So depending on the cube size, they are going to split the data into certain data cubes that are placed inside the data warehouse. DSS is for decision support system. Microsoft Excel spreadsheets might be coming along with the data that is coming from the querying and reporting. Okay, then enterprise information system, they are going to generate the data for their organization. That would also be incorporated into the BI tools. Financial reporting, any online analytical processing, OLAP, or online transaction processing, the OLTP resources, they will also be generating the data set for BI tools later on. Workflows, digital cockpits and dashboards, cards and dashboards. So the scorecard for World Cup for football, they are obviously every match is generating set of data. So that is being stored, and then that data is also being used to predict the results of the future games or future sessions that they are going to conduct. Okay, so there is a full-fledged data science that's going on over there as well. So you can consider analyzing that component or trying to understand how it is working for the football World Cup series for 2026. And alerts and notifications, if there are any in the system, that will also be part of BI tools. So you can see that lots of inputs, they are coming along to help perform the business intelligence decisions. Okay, so what are those challenges that a data scientist or data analyst might have to face? They will have to look at the data quality, and then they will merge, combine the data sets based on the requirements of the system. Change management, obviously, things, the way in which the World Cup is being done in this year, after in the next iteration of the World Cup, obviously there will be few changes that needs to be adjusted. And if you look at the data set for student satisfaction in KY, uh, the way in which the MBA units they were offered 5 years ago will be different than how they are being done now. And after 5 years, obviously, we have certain changes in plan. So those changes, they need to be, because you have to compare apples with apples, and it's not going to be like apples with oranges. So there should be something in common between two data sets, and then you can compare those two data sets. So there is a cost that's involved. Obviously, it will come automatically because we are storing the information for the purpose of processing. So you can utilize that cost that you're already having incorporated into the system. Complexity and expertise, obviously you require data scientists or data analysts who are going to perform that analysis using certain tools. And if you have licensed version of those tools, then you should have technical experts in that area as well. Okay, so having just purchasing those tools will not help. You require the skill set, and skilled personnel need to be paid for that. So data privacy and security is the crux of data science, because any of the organization, those who are interested in performing or in getting into the BI tools, their first question mark would be how secure the data will be. Where do you keep the data set? Which tools do you use? Do they support the compliance and the data security aspects as well? So for the purpose of enterprise data analytics, we require the the people who are involved inside the enterprise data analytics to understand that certain kind of data mining and reporting decisions will be used, and certain types of data that are outliers, or outliers means that they're not following certain patterns, rather there is a variation in the pattern for that particular series, so we can completely remove that outlier set, and then we can use um, just to make sure we are comparing apples with apples and not apples with oranges. So we take out those slightly different aspects as outlier, we put them away, and then we continue with the rest of the data set. Search engine optimization, SEO, that is uh, imagine how many search strings are generated every second or every millisecond, because people from different locations, they are performing that search operation at different time zones or different locations. So there is a lot of internet traffic and a lot of servers. So once you get that search string, you can determine, for example, in COVID-19, when the flu-like symptoms were being observed, lots of search operations were done, flu, coughing, breathing issues, and just by having those search strings, the areas where COVID is prevalent was flagged that, okay, this area has got more COVID cases, because people are looking for those symptoms that are quite related to COVID cases. So that helped them to understand that the COVID number would rise in that particular area. So you can see how those search operations, they are also feeding the data onto the system. Okay. Then we have enterprise-wide analytics, where we are doing the A/B testing, trying to determine whether certain insights will let us know what are the enablers of those certain technology aspects or consumer behavior satisfaction, or to remove a certain disease, what can be better enabled within the um, human human aspect. So you need to understand based on the data set itself. It will help you to enhance the return on investment, ROI, if you're talking about the business itself. So there are multiple aspects where you can technically um, get a better outcome or improve your future decisions based on your previous experiences. Now we have global value chain and industry. You can see you are continuously manufacturing, the manufacturing process is being continued, then the business level value is added, national level value is added. But once those values are added, you're getting some feedback as well. So once that feedback is incorporated, your manufacturing step will allow you to better generate those products or better produce those. So your global value chain is going to be a cyclic process that will continue with the feedback thing. Yeah, so that's the description of the same. Then you have the business level value, obviously, and national level value that is helping to generate. So these are the statistics that different companies um, nearshoring of suppliers to boost supply chain resilience, but won't up increasing inventory. So they ended up with different, slightly different variations of the results based on the data that they got, and then they evaluated how implementation in the past 12 months versus planned in the following year, in the previous year, sorry. Now, here is the result for the survey for COVID-19 crisis. What happened with the commodities, with construction engineering? You can see certain, and then healthcare. We have got, but increased plan for future. So plan for future was quite high for healthcare because we are trying to reduce the number of COVID-19 cases. Now, this image is really crucial and crucial in the sense that it will help you to complete your assessment task as well. Okay, so I will not be teaching a lot of topic today. Rather, we will discuss this one because this will help you to do your assessment task. And you can see that the retail value chain vendors, they are coming along. Then there is a set of planning tasks: merchandising, buying, warehousing and logistics, multi-channel operations, and customers. So from vendors to customers, we are getting a lot of things as feedback or uh, learning from your previous experiences that can change. Okay, so you can edit your planning, you can change your merchandising, you can change the buying decisions based on um, the demand that is coming along and how you can enhance that. It depends on the data set that you are getting beforehand. And relying on that data set, you are going to continue to incorporate the things, the feedback from the customer onto the way in which the warehousing and logistics are done or multi-channel operations are done. So everything can get affected based on these preference, the change on this preference. So if you look at the analytic application in terms of inventory optimization, what could be your business question? Which products have high demand? Which products are slow moving or becoming obsolete? Okay. So for the purpose of inventory optimization, you're looking at the products that will get higher demand from your consumer and products that are slow moving or becoming obsolete because they are not being picked up from the by the customers, by the consumer. So what is causing that reduction in demand or increase in demand, or they're getting low in demand? So both needs to be addressed. Okay, and by forecasting the consumption of fast moving products and order them the sufficient inventory to avoid stock out scenarios. So if they are getting more popular, we need to make sure that racks are filled up to certain level. And if they are not being, they're slow moving, they're not being picked up, then we need to stop their supply. So being a business student, I think you will understand the business value. But the business question is something that you have to ask from the data set. Okay. Then price elasticity, how much net margin do I have on the product? Okay. How much discount can I give on this product? So net margin and discount questions, but you are not supposed to answer it intuitively or like it is something that I think it has to be something that your data tells you. Okay, so does your data allow you to answer this question or not? If not, then you cannot keep that business question in here in the list. Okay. Market basket analysis, what products should I combine to create bundle offer? For example, every morning there are certain set of there are a number of transactions that are being done for milk, butter, and eggs. So it's highly likely that someone who purchases milk will also be going for butter and eggs, or bread. Someone picking up bread will go for butter and milk. So certain combinations will be picked up as common or popular, and then if some one of the element is picked up from that combination, it is likely that the other elements will also be picked up. Should I combine product based on slow moving and fast moving characteristics? Should I create bundle from the same category or different category line? So someone who is buying, for example, detergents or cleaning items, are they looking for toothpaste plus are they looking for fruits as well? So you try to create those combinations as heterogeneous, or is it just similar combinations that exist within the basket from one particular domain? Okay, so this gives you some of the analytical examples of the questions that you will have to ask later on from your data set. Okay, these are the references. So we are not going to spend a lot of time here. I will take you directly to the reading section that is added in your Moodle. So if I go to this is potentially Moodle, yeah. So let me bring this screen here. Yeah, so are you able to see chapter 1? Oh, it's not visible.
Yes, ma'am.
I would share this one. Yeah. So analytics or data science. So let's spend some time reading through here. So that's your data science definition. Data analyst is just another term for professionals who were doing the BI in the form of data compilation, cleaning, reporting, and perhaps some visualization. Their skill sets include Excel, some SQL knowledge, and reporting. The distinction between an analytics and data scientist is more of a degree of a technical knowledge and skill sets functions. It may also be more of a distinction across disciplines. Computer science, statistics, and applied mathematics program appear to prefer the data science label, but obviously, yeah, so network science or data science. Aside from a clear difference in skill sets of professionals who only have to do descriptive or reporting analytics versus those who engage in all three types of analytics, the distinction is fuzzy between two labels. At best, we observe that graduates of our analytics programs tend to be responsible for tasks which are more in line with data science professionals. Um, but yours would be data analytics because you're doing it from MBA thing. So you have to understand what is meant by the descriptive analytics, which tools are used to that employed in descriptive analytics. So for descriptive analysis, which tool did you use already? In the, I think in tutorial in session 1, we did one of the tools for descriptive analytics. Can somebody name that tool? Online students? Remember, we looked at the airline data, we looked at satisfied consumers, passengers who were satisfied, passengers who were neither satisfied or dissatisfied. So which tool did we use for describing that data set? Online students, you need to respond. Yes. Do you remember on top of your head? So in your Moodle, go to topic 1. Can you see something over there?
Kegel, ma'am.
Topic 1. There's the airline
Yes.
data set. So which tool did you use to look at the airline data set?
Kegel.
Week 1. Topic 1. This one. How did we look at the data file? We used Microsoft Excel, right? And then we try to determine that how many records do we have. We switched on the filter here. That was very first data, first session, okay? And remember, I told you the number of records, they tell you the data size. So sizes. The first question you're going to answer is how many observations are there? So it is 25,977 minus 1, because first is the header. Okay. So 25,976 records are there, starting from 0 to 25,975. Okay. So that's the total number of records that we have using the Excel file. And the next question was that in this data set, since you can see how many columns are there. So first one is just the header or the ID thing. Even this one is ID. And this is just a count that was added to demonstrate how do we count the records. And so it's A to Y. Since in English we have A to Z, how many alphabets are there? A to Z? 26 alphabets, A to Z,
26.
right? And the first one is ID. So technically two of them, we can subtract 2 from here and plus 1, 3 from here. So 26 minus 3 is 23 attributes. So 23 columns that contain the data, they exist. Okay. So out of those 23 columns, we looked at, okay, first one is ID, second is gender. It tells us how many male and female proportion. What's the proportion of male and female? Since if we need to know how many females were there, Excel will tell you 13,172 of 25,976. So we don't know the proportion, but by just looking at the numbers, it seems relatively equal proportion of male and female was there. But what would be the even better way to look at the proportion of male and female? Remember, we discussed that. What did we create here? Students who attended first session, do you remember on top of your head? We looked at the customer thing. So we selected the data and we inserted a table that's called the pivot table. Okay, so table range is this one, and we put it into new sheet. I think your Excel, yeah, it will freeze up for some time. Yeah, so we generated that pivot table from here. Let's see if it, no, it is frozen. So if I select the data again, insert pivot table, I think it's generating it for the whole X. Have to go to the task manager again. Let's put it this way. That we are going to do it for only these columns. Yeah. So once we have pivot table, then we put, for example, in the columns, we put how many males and females and type of travel. And then we put customer type or satisfaction here. And then, yeah. So we get to see that there are a total of 25,976 records. Out of that, this is the proportion of male and female. Even this one gives us just numbers, okay? But if we need to get a better picture, we can insert a chart out of that, and then let's put it down there. So this tells us that there were people who traveled in business travel versus personal travel. Okay. And the count of satisfaction, the number of people who are satisfied, are really the satisfaction level is higher for business travel as compared to personal travel. Okay. And the proportion of male and female is technically equal in both of those classes. However, people who traveled in business class, they were a bit more satisfied. Their satisfaction levels were higher, while personal travel, their satisfaction was slightly different. So we need to figure out that what is happening in terms of type of travel. People who are traveling for business, maybe since they are traveling more often, that is why they are even satisfied, while personal travel, they are not traveling that often, or we need to understand like what is going on at the back end. Okay. Similarly, if you need to distinguish like in terms of class here, so business economy, economy plus, you can see people who are traveling from economy or economy plus, they are slightly low in terms of satisfaction as compared to business class consumers. Okay. So this is how you put certain variables somewhere, and you're using Microsoft Excel to perform your data analytics. Okay. So exact same you can do for your data set that you get from Kaggle, and then you're going to do your analysis either by creating pivot tables or bar charts or pie charts, or any kind of visualization can be generated to create your assessment task. Okay. To create certain um, visualization or the descriptions. That's assessment number. I think in assignment 1, you just need to provide your data set description. Okay. So it's due by week 4, Sunday of week 4. Okay. So they are going to update the deadline. Start date is 14th of July. They haven't updated yet. So this needs to be updated. So your week 4, this is week 3, right? So next week, Sunday. So if I go to calendar, that would be somewhere. Yeah. So you have next session, week 4, and then week 4, Sunday, 26th of July would be your deadline. Okay. So this will get updated. Coordinator will update this one. Let's have a go through the subject outline. If you did not get a chance, make sure you read through assessment 1 requirements over
Excuse me,
here.
ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, those who are late enrolled and might miss the, week 1. Should they get the recorded video of week 1 model?
Yes. So recordings, I think I left in the chat window. So if you
Okay.
go to the chat window, I pasted the recording links over here. Did you get a chance to see that? Here is the link for recorded sessions that I uploaded onto, I put them onto the YouTube link. So you can always go and review that over there. So if you open it up, sure. Yeah. So that should be visible to you. Okay. So I think this one is week 2 and this one is week 1. So make sure you cover that. So if you scroll up in the chat window, are you able to see these links? Who asked the question? Sorry.
No,
I forgot.
ma'am. I can't see those links.
No, ma'am, because our
You
chat
cannot?
windows are
Okay.
empty.
What I
No.
can do is I'm going to put those links again here.
You could just do that. Thank you.
Chat. Let me see if I can copy. Let's try pasting it down here. And this one is week 1. And even this session is recorded. So I'm going to put it onto the same YouTube link. So you can have
Ma'am,
a look.
can we make week 2 lecture recording also?
So this is week 1 and this one is week 2. So there are 2 links, right? Yeah,
Thank you,
so you
ma'am.
can review
Yes,
that.
got it. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Got it. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, that's good. And then, yeah, so this is assessment number 1. Project plan and data collection. Okay, so week 4 Sunday you will submit, and they are going to update the links. If you're not able to see the Dropbox, you should be able to see that. Don't worry about it. And don't wait for the Dropbox. Just start working on assessment number 1 task. So the first thing that you have to do is research a specific industry and identify potential enterprise, its current position and challenges it currently faces, and its contested market. That is the problem to be solved, PTBS. Student will then identify the potential business question and requirements and find appropriate data repository to collect robust and unbiased data. So I usually tell students to identify at least 5 to 7 business questions. Okay, does that make sense? Think about 5 business questions at least. So 5 to 7 is a good number, because out of that, once you come back with your submission, I will give you feedback that out of those 5, only 3 were genuine enough or 2 were genuine enough. Okay, so it depends whether they make sense or not. If you can get it reviewed in week 4 tutorial session, that's great. Otherwise, make sure you identify as many as you can, so that some of them would be definitely be valid. It is individual assessments. You are going to develop a data repository and populate that repository with the appropriate data. Now, this data repository is coming along from Kaggle. Okay, so you're going to use Kaggle. You have your Kaggle accounts created, and then you have to a short 500 report outlining the business. So whether it is health, education, industry, consumer satisfaction, or any certain product, transportation industry maybe. But once you select that, make sure that you can survive, like it is of your interest. If you're not interested, don't go for it, because you have to do like assessment 1, then 2, then 3 on the same data set. Okay, so it should be of your high interest, so that you can spend some time with that one. Now, the elements that you have to submit is the industry or enterprise background. Okay, your cover page should be there. Follow the QI cover page policy. Okay, make sure you're doing that. And business requirements and business questions. As I said, 5 to 7 business questions. For example, if I take the example of that airline data set, then how do you think how many customers would be satisfied if they are traveling? Is satisfaction defined by the type of class they travel? Is it defined by the gender, or is it like look at those different attributes and try to ask different research questions? So if I go back to the Excel file, so you can see you can ask questions about the types of travel. Does it define the satisfaction? Class, flight distances. What was the impact of flight distance? Is there any relationship between flight distance and the satisfaction or not? Okay, this is something you are going to ask data, and then you should be able to get answer from the data set. Okay, then these parameters: in-flight Wi-Fi, departure, arrival time, convenience. So flight timings, does it affect satisfaction? Okay, um, the food and entertainment that is on board, does it affect satisfaction? How was cleanliness defining satisfaction? Okay, so gender, customer. That's why I asked you for at least having 15 different columns, so that you can ask different questions from the data set, and try to not have a data set that has got lots of number like this one. Okay, having different attributes in the columns, that would be rather a good one, because then you can ask different questions from that same data set. Okay, so that will help you describing the data. And then data dictionary. Data dictionary, if I take you to, remember we created the Kaggle accounts. Where is Kaggle? Yeah. So data dictionary is usually provided inside the thing as well. So for example, If you look at the Titanic data, now here they describe the data. Data dictionary is already there. The variable name, their definition. So survival tells us about the survival number of the people who survived in Titanic. 0 means they did not survive. 1 means they survived. Class, ticket class they were traveling, first, second, and third. Their gender, age, sibling, number of siblings per spouses aboard the Titanic. Parsh, number of parents or children aboard the Titanic. So how many were just parents or just children? Um, Ticket numbers, families, their fares, their cabin number, their port of. So the variable along with the definition, you can get it from Kaggle as well, but I usually encourage students that get the idea from there, but try to write it yourself. Okay, so identify what would be the data type. For example, here yes no means it is a boolean. Having only 3 values means okay, only 3 values. Gender you need to define. Age, you have to tell what are the age brackets in your data set. Okay, so for each attribute you have to tell that how does it explain or what does it define in your data set. And lots of information is placed there inside Kaggle to help you do your data dictionary task as well. So going back to this one, yeah, justification of chosen data set, why you are selecting this one, okay? Do you have interest in transportation? Do you have interest into health or education or consumer behavior? So you need to write down any particular reason. And don't forget to add references. They are also very important. If you look at the marking rubric, you can see this is how I'm going to enter your marks. So make sure you are following those rubrics as well. Okay. So this task is due by the end of next week, but I expect all of you to have your Kaggle accounts. I can see that most of you already have. So Mohammed Asim, did you manage to create your Kaggle account? I'll update this one after a quick break. Let's go for a break. It's almost an hour now. So you can have a quick break, and then after the break, I'm going to ask each one of you, did you manage to create your Kaggle accounts? Any problems, make sure you get it resolved during the tutorial session today, okay? And yeah, that would be the key objective, plus your data set links, okay? Because I have to ensure that no two students are getting the same data set, okay? So if you are finalizing your data set, you have to put that in the chat window here, and then I will approve. I will approve means I will put that in this list of mine to make sure that no two students are getting the same data set, okay? And those who provide the data set link in week 3 or week 4 max, they get better scores against those who did not create the Kaggle, does not have the data set link, but have submitted the assignment. Obviously, they're going to score lower. And those who have created the accounts, provided the dataset link, got it approved by the instructor, obviously they already started somewhere in week 3. Okay. Any questions about your assignment?
Hi, ma'am. Sorry for interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ma'am, I have missed my previous classes due to some health issues. So I just created my Kaggle account and later what I have to do, could you please explain?
Oh, that's good. You have created Kaggle account, so you're
Yeah,
good.
just
Now
right
in
now I have
Kaggle,
put
you
it.
have to search for a data set. Okay. So
Okay.
we will discuss that in the tutorial session further. We already looked at. Did you get a chance to review the recorded sessions?
No, ma'am, I'll do.
Yeah, so go through that one as well. And don't worry, I'll reiterate on the type of the data set that you require. How do you find that? But I'll help you to find. But yes, you have to provide the data set link today. Okay.
Okay.
How many word count? Word count, I believe in your this thing. What does it indicate?
Ma'am, because in the subject outline that I downloaded, it says 1500 words, but yours one says 500.
This one is semester 220. Are we in the same data set? Hold on. MBA 90226. This is the correct one. It has to be 1500 words. That's why I could notice that some of the elements were revised. Yeah. So it is 1500 words. Yeah. Reporting outline and business requirements. And yeah, that's the correct one.
Because on the Moodle, it still says 500.
Yeah, it is 1500. On Moodle, stick to this one, the one that's in the course outline. Okay, so that's the correct version.
Yeah, that's 1500 words.
Yeah, that's 1500 for 2026 students. Yeah. And it has a 15% weightage. And here is the marking rubric.
Okay.
Thank you for
Yeah.
your question. Anyone
And
else?
also
Yeah.
the sample that we have for assessment 1, the sample is of 500 words again.
Yeah, don't worry about the sample, but usually students end up having, if you start writing these two, data descriptions and data dictionary, they ended up exceeding the 500 list. So that's why I think they have increased up to 1500. I will double check with the coordinator as well, but let's stick to 1500 for now. If it is less or something, I will update you in week 4 as well. Okay, but you continue to prepare with 1500 words.
How
Yes?
do we share our dataset link?
Yeah, so once you have selected data set, you can put it here in the chat window and let me know, and I will open it up. Okay.
Thank you.
So those who have got the dataset link, they can start sharing from now. Let's go for a quick break. I'll come back in 15 minutes. There are technically two. Yeah, so I'll stop recording here. Yeah,